Hi, welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. My name is George Alger, and today's guest is Peter Arthur, who is the author of the Fight For Immortality, a science fiction book. Welcome, Peter.
Good to be here.
Peter, I also want to show the artwork here. It's really the cover of the book, just in a bigger form, but this is such a beautiful depiction, such a beautiful cover. I just want to show it to the viewers.
Oh, absolutely. Brad Frontfelter, the artist, did a fantastic job.
Yeah, well done to Brad. That is fantastic. Peter, let's just touch bases on the book here for a moment. Tell us what the book is about.
Well, the title, obviously, Fight For Immortality. It's about immortality in a figurative and a literal sense. And it involves alien invasion of Earth, but in a way that really hasn't been conceived of before. The alien invasion occurs in a very subtle and you know, there's no spaceships that come in and blow things up or destroy people and lives and so forth. It happens in an entirely different fashion. But the real thrust of the book is about, it's about 16, 17-year-old boy and girl, the main characters, and it's there. Well, one of the things I found when I talk to younger people, they have an incredible desire to create really big effects in the world. And if you ask a kid, even, you know, up to 20, 25, even older, and you ask them what their goals are and what it is they want to achieve in life, you will listen to them for days. You know what I mean? They will really talk to you. And so my book represents a couple of kids that actually, you know, just take all the stops out and just go for whatever it is they need to go for to get to where they want to go.
Good.
So, yeah.
Let's talk just a little bit on science fiction overall, because although science fiction has been around for, I don't know how long, but a long time,
it's true.
It seems like it's become more popular in recent years. And I only say that based on the amount of movies that I see nowadays that are science fiction based, as opposed to, you know, in the last couple decades. Is that a true observation? No, absolutely.
Science fiction, I oftentimes run into people from all ages, all walks of life that are, you know, their favorite shows on television oftentimes are science fiction now. And even 10 years ago, there was the amount of material on television in the media about science fiction was dramatically less than it is now. And so it's as if the concepts, you know, in modern times, Earth has become a very small place. So what you're looking at is, where do the adventurers have to go? They're kind of lost. You know what I mean? So you get somebody with a bit of an independent spirit, and they're going, where are we going to go? Well, maybe we could go to space. That would really help. At least we can get somewhere that nobody's been before and do something, right? So when Earth is so small because of the speed of transportation, science fiction really inspires the imagination of people, because there's an outlet of, like, you know, oh my goodness, maybe just one day this is actually going to be real and we can do this. And people are so interested in expansion along that, you know what I mean? It's really true.
Good. Let's have you comment on immortality itself.
Well, the immortality, obviously that can be an interesting subject depending on who you're talking to, and a lot of people have very, very strong opinions about immortality. The immortality that I bring up in the book is many moons ago, I guess 1988, I had a dream about an interstellar culture and how they were immortal, and how a portion of their culture orchestrated immortality. And it was the most definitive dream of my life, something that I have never forgotten and still can call to mind today. And the methodology by which they brought about immortality is what I've, you know, at the time, I think, one day I'll write a book, right? So, I mean, obviously a lot of people have had that same thought on different topics all the time. But this dream stuck with me so profoundly that one day was today, and I decided to write a book about it. And the concept of immortality is straight from the dream, but the story that houses that concept was my imagination and how I made it happen and, you know, become the story itself.
Good. Now, there are immortality is addressed in various religions, particularly Eastern religions, and there's a concept of immortality that embraces multiple bodies, reincarnation over time.
Absolutely.
Are you describing immortality in this race as something that is also embracing multiple bodies, or is it actually a timeline with one body?
Well, in terms of the main character, it is it's inclusive of that, but in a way that you really don't expect to see that it comes. It's not the classic death rebirth type of a cycle. It's that type of idea, but in a science fiction setting, and it's actually very interesting as you read the book. I mean, having spoken to a number of people who have read my book through, and the different impacts that it has, because it allows them to look at that idea outside the setting of religion, because I don't really bring religion up in the book whatsoever. There's a slight bit of it, but only as it's apparent in the culture. It's not a topic that's discussed per se, right? And so the topic, the immortality in here is, as I said, not religious, but it's and not classic life, death, rebirth, and so forth. But it embraces that idea, but as I said, in a way that you just don't expect.
All right.
And
sounds cool.
Yeah.
Good. So now we're talking about a race that's outside of the planet, so we refer to those as aliens. And
sure.
That is also a topic that is becoming more prominent in movies anyway. All right.
Absolutely.
More so in the past. Speak to the topic of aliens.
Well, I had a thought, and it was interesting. If you look at our planet, and say, for instance, you look at various different ruins, some of them engineers would be unable to replicate what's been done. So the huge size of particular stones, and I can't really remember a particular site, but you look at the Ancient Alien TV channel, and it's just fascinating. You know that somebody with a higher level of technology constructed the things that are here, and because, as I said, in spite of the advances of our own technology, the engineers today couldn't do it. And so my question, more than where are the aliens, it's why aren't the aliens here now? Because they've been here before, and there's so much evidence of their existence, as in, that is to say, if someone can't build it today, but it's here, somebody else did it. And so if they were here, why aren't they here now? That's a far more interesting question for me, as just looking at the planet and what goes on, than in terms of aliens. Than, oh, do aliens exist? Well, to me that's an answered question. But where are they? They should be here.
Do you have any thoughts about that?
I really don't. I don't actually have any, I don't have enough information about it, obviously. I mean, to draw a really accurate conclusion, I could speculate, you know what I mean? But to draw an accurate conclusion, you have to have enough information to make it sensible, and so I don't personally have the information as to why the aliens took off, you know what I mean? Maybe they needed coffee and Starbucks wasn't here yet or something, so.
Cool. Let's touch upon science fiction again in this
Sure.
sense. Science fiction has often been attributed as a source of future thinking, all right? You're a science fiction writer.
Yes.
So you may be so deep into this you don't look at it that way, but what is your perspective? How do you see science fiction as sort of a weather vane for civilization?
I think it's very true. Obviously, with the amount of science fiction out there, some of it's not an attempt to predict the future, and some actually predict the future without attempting to. And so you have between those 2 points of people just writing a story that's never going to happen, and people who are actually visionary in terms of what is to come. H.G. Wells, all the things that occurred, transit to the moon, submarines, and so forth. Well before any of that could easily be conceived of in a practical sense. I think the role of science fiction still plays a great part. You hear of conferences where the regular scientists, they invite the science fiction authors to have a roundtable on, where is science going? Because the scientists may have the nuts and bolts, but the science fiction authors have the imagination. And a lot of times to put the future there, you need imagination. And so, hey, what better place to go to, right, than somebody spends there all day, figuring out what to write about various different things, right? Sort of like it's something you get caught up in. It's something that you revel in, and something that you create, and you put something there that's never been there before, and it's a fun experience doing it. And hey, if anything that I've written becomes an accurate vision of the future, I'll take it.
So, based on that statement, would it be safe to say that you would first view yourself as a storyteller and secondary as a visionary? Because it doesn't seem like, based on that statement, that you're really looking at yourself as a visionary.
Oh no, I love to tell a story, and my book is one of the favorite compliments I ever received was that even though it was intricate, it was easy to understand. But telling a story is interweaving factors, and they all have to come out right, or the readers will really let you know. So that's the fun part of it. But truly, do I think that a future that I put there in this book could actually exist? Sure. I don't think it's soon. But then it very well may well be too. You know what I mean? The way things are going. People with varying increasing abilities that you see around. Who knows? Who knows? It's a real point of speculation, but that's fun too.
Yeah, and on that point, which by the way I want to mention, we're getting a little close to the end of the show. Okay.
Okay.
But maybe this would be a good concept to kind of wrap things up with. As a science fiction writer, as someone who is looking at the world and also contemplating science and its potential, how do you envision the future as things stand from today? We see a lot of bad things in the world. I don't know if it's more or less than ever, or if we can just see more of it, or if there's actually more of it. But how do you vision the future when you're, looking at it from a viewpoint that you have?
Well, obviously, in the Western world, and and you see it on TV all the time and in movies, there's an apocalyptic viewpoint on, the future, near future, distant future. Nobody seems to have a good idea about that particular point, but it's been around a long time, and I think people feel that it's getting closer, and I don't discount that something like that will occur, but
something meaning something apocalyptic. I can't even pronounce
apocalyptic?
It. Yeah, I've read it. I guess I've never said it out loud.
The apocalyptic. See, now I've done it too. Yeah. That type of future, I conceive that something like that is going to happen, but the point is. You've got to pick up the pieces. That's where the emphasis of anything that I would consider about that goes. Well, okay, so something bad is going to happen. Good. What do we do now? You make the future by doing what you do to create the best future you can. And if it all goes to heck in a handbasket, well then, let's pick it up and get going again, and let's make the best of what we can after that point. And so. The major emphasis is the apocalypse, the apocalypse. Well, okay, fair enough. There's life after apocalypse. You know what I mean? And to me, personally, completely divorced from anything in my book, that is what I personally think about that subject.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're out of time, but if we could just at least sneak in a website where people could get some more information, that would be good.
The Fight For Immortality.com. You can see information about my book, and I post things about upcoming things and short stories and so forth. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Peter.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until I meet again.